Imagine wearing a bracelet made from your grandmother's hair. In the Victorian era, this wasn't just a bizarre idea but a widespread practice. People cherished keepsakes made from the locks of their loved ones, often turning them into intricate pieces of jewelry. These unique adornments served as mementos of affection, a way to keep someone physically close even when they were gone. The art of hair jewelry was surprisingly intricate, with artisans weaving locks into detailed designs that adorned brooches, bracelets, and necklaces. The hair was sometimes combined with gold or silver to create items that were both sentimental and valuable. This macabre practice was also a reflection of the Victorian obsession with mourning and the afterlife, blending beauty with a tangible connection to the deceased. This tradition stemmed from a time when death was a more prominent part of daily life. With high mortality rates, especially among children, families found solace in these tangible reminders of their loved ones. Hair jewelry was not just for mourning, it was also a token of friendship or love, exchanged between living friends and family members as a symbol of connection. While today's society might find it unusual, these pieces were treasured heirlooms, passed down through generations. They remind us of a time when personal adornment carried deep emotional significance, capturing the essence of those we hold dear in the strands of their hair. Deaf composer, epic triumph. Beethoven composed some of the world's most famous music without ever hearing a note. Imagine creating symphonies, sonatas, and concertos while being completely deaf. This wasn't just a stage in his life. Beethoven started losing his hearing in his late 20s and continued to compose masterpieces as his condition worsened. By the time he wrote his Ninth Symphony, he was completely unable to hear the applause it received. The idea of a deaf composer sounds like a paradox. How could someone create music without the ability to hear? Beethoven relied on the vibrations of his piano and the memory of sound, tapping into an internal world of music that transcended physical limitations. His notebooks were filled with scribbles, indicating how he heard music in his mind and adjusted his compositions accordingly. His story isn't just about overcoming a disability, it's about redefining what we think is possible. Beethoven pushed through isolation and frustration. He once wrote to a friend about his struggle and despair but concluded with a determination to embrace his fate and continue his art. His resilience transformed personal tragedy into universal triumph, demonstrating that creativity knows no bounds. Beethoven's legacy is a testament to human ingenuity and spirit. His ability to compose music that moves and inspires, even today, challenges our perceptions of talent and ability. He stands as a towering figure in music history, not just for his compositions, but for his indomitable will to create against all odds. In medieval courts, animals faced trials and executions just like humans. Imagine a pig or a rooster standing in the defendant's box, argued over by lawyers in a courtroom drama. This bizarre aspect of justice held animals accountable for their actions, with punishments ranging from public shaming to death. These trials weren't rare or humorous, they were taken seriously. Pigs were the most common defendants, often accused of eating crops or attacking children. In 1386, a pig in France was dressed in human clothes and hanged for killing a child. The townspeople gathered to witness the punishment, a grim spectacle of justice being served. Lawyers would be appointed to defend the animal, presenting arguments as if they were representing a human client. The court proceedings could be lengthy, with witnesses called to testify against the accused animal. These trials highlighted the medieval belief that all creatures, human or otherwise, were subject to the laws of the land. This odd facet of history reflects a time when the lines between humans and animals in the eyes of the law were blurred. The rationale behind these trials might seem absurd today, but they reveal fascinating insights into medieval society's views on morality, justice, and the natural order. Unexpected architectural fame. The Leaning Tower of Pisa was never meant to lean. Imagine a world where this iconic structure stood perfectly straight. It's almost unimaginable today. During its construction in the 12th century, the ground beneath the tower began to sink, causing it to tilt. This was not an architectural statement but rather an engineering blunder that turned into architectural fame. The soil in Pisa was softer than anticipated, and as the builders reached the third story, the tilt began. Instead of starting over, they pressed on, adjusting the subsequent floors to compensate for the lean. This unintentional tilt became more pronounced over time and paradoxically transformed the tower into a global attraction. It's a remarkable example of how an error can become an asset. For centuries, engineers have grappled with stabilizing the tower, fearing it might one day topple. Various corrective measures were attempted, but it wasn't until the late 20th century that significant efforts successfully reduced the tilt by a few degrees. This delicate balance between preservation and correction highlights the tower's unique historical journey. The Leaning Tower of Pisa stands today not just as a testament to medieval engineering but as a symbol of how unexpected flaws can lead to enduring allure. It's a reminder that sometimes, our biggest mistakes can become our most celebrated features, drawing millions each year to witness a marvel that was never meant to be. The Statue of Liberty was almost an Egyptian woman. Before it became the symbol of freedom in New York Harbor, this colossal statue was originally designed to stand at the entrance of the Suez Canal in Egypt. French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi envisioned a towering figure, dressed in an Egyptian peasant robe, holding a torch aloft to symbolize progress and modernity. Imagine the Statue of Liberty greeting ships in the sands of Egypt instead of the waters of America. Bartholdi called it Egypt bringing light to Asia, a bold concept meant to celebrate the opening of the Suez Canal in 1869. The canal connected the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea, revolutionizing maritime trade routes. However, the project was too expensive for the Egyptian government, and the plan was shelved. Bartholdi's dream of a grand statue in Egypt was thwarted, but he didn't give up on the idea. Years later, Bartholdi found a new opportunity across the Atlantic. The United States was celebrating its centennial, and a monument was needed to commemorate the friendship between France and America. Bartholdi reimagined his Egyptian statue as liberty enlightening the world, and the rest is history. The transformation from an Egyptian symbol of progress to an American emblem of freedom was complete. The Statue of Liberty's journey from Egypt to New York is a testament to the fluid nature of art and ideas. What was once intended to stand amidst the desert sands became a beacon of hope in a bustling harbor. This iconic monument reminds us that our symbols of identity and freedom can come from the most unexpected places. So next time you look at Lady Liberty, remember her surprising origin story that could have changed the face of history. Tulip mania, flower fortune. Tulips were once more valuable than gold. In the 17th century, the Dutch were so captivated by these vibrant flowers that a single bulb could cost as much as a luxurious house. This frenzy, known as tulip mania, saw prices skyrocket as people from all walks of life, from wealthy merchants to humble artisans, invested in the booming tulip market, hoping to strike it rich. Imagine a world where flowers equaled fortune. The allure of owning rare and exotic tulip varieties turned these blooms into status symbols, driving people to trade their life savings for a chance to own the most coveted bulbs. The demand was so high that futures contracts were created, allowing people to buy tulips not yet grown, further inflating the market. However, the bubble was destined to burst. As quickly as they rose, tulip prices plummeted, leaving many in financial ruin. The sudden crash in 1637 sent shockwaves through the Dutch economy, highlighting the dangers of speculative markets and serving as a cautionary tale for centuries to come. Tulip mania remains one of history's most fascinating economic phenomena, a vivid reminder of how collective obsession can drive even the most improbable markets to dizzying heights before crashing down. The legacy of this floral frenzy continues to captivate economists and historians alike, illustrating the timeless nature of human folly in the face of greed. Imagine writing code for a computer that doesn't exist yet. That's exactly what Ada Lovelace did in the 1840s, making her the world's first computer programmer. While most people believe computing began with giant machines and binary code, the seeds of the digital age were actually sown in the mind of a visionary woman long before the first computer was built. Born in 1815, Ada was the daughter of the famous poet Lord Byron, but her passion was mathematics, not verse. She worked alongside Charles Babbage, the inventor of the analytical engine, a conceptual precursor to the modern computer. While Babbage designed the machine, it was Ada who foresaw its true potential. She wrote the first algorithm intended for implementation on a machine, essentially creating a program before the hardware existed. What made her insights so revolutionary was her understanding that computers could do more than just crunch numbers. They could create art, music, and even simulate reality. This was a radical idea at a time when the concept of a computer was more akin to a complex calculator than the versatile machines we know today. Ada's notes on the analytical engine include what many consider the first published algorithm, highlighting her role as a pioneer in computer science. Ada's vision laid the groundwork for the digital age, yet her contributions were largely forgotten until the mid-20th century, when her notes were rediscovered and her genius recognized. In a world dominated by male scientists, Ada Lovelace broke barriers and paved the way for future generations, proving that innovation knows no gender. Her legacy endures, inspiring countless individuals to dream boldly and redefine what's possible through technology. Imagine winning the ancient Olympics and getting paid in olive oil. That's right, victorious athletes in ancient Greece didn't just earn glory and fame, they took home jars of this golden liquid. Olive oil wasn't just a culinary staple, it was a symbol of prosperity and an essential part of Greek culture. But why olive oil, and what made it so valuable? In ancient Greece, olive oil was far more than a cooking ingredient. It was used in religious ceremonies, as fuel for lamps, and even as a skin moisturizer. Its production was a meticulous process, with olives harvested by hand and pressed to extract the precious oil. The Greeks believed olive oil was a gift from the gods, with its origins steeped in mythology. Athena herself was said to have created the first olive tree. The value of olive oil extended beyond spiritual and personal use, it was a crucial economic commodity. Trade routes crisscrossed the Mediterranean. with olive oil being a key product exchanged for goods from other cultures. This liquid gold was so integral to the Greek economy that entire regions specialized in its production, and it became a measure of wealth and status. So, when an athlete stood on the podium, crowned with an olive wreath and receiving amphorae filled with olive oil, it wasn't just a prize, it was a testament to their prowess, a nod to their cultural heritage, and a boost to their economic standing. This tradition highlights the multifaceted significance of olive oil in ancient Greece, intertwining sport, culture, and economy in a single, iconic reward. Sun King, Reign of Opulence. The longest reigning monarch in history wasn't Queen Elizabeth II, but King Louis XIV of France, who sat on the throne for an astounding 72 years and 110 days. Known as the Sun King, Louis XIV's reign from 1643 to 1715 was marked by a level of opulence and extravagance that defined an era and solidified France's cultural dominance in Europe. Imagine a ruler whose reign began when he was just 4 years old and continued until his death at the age of 76, a reign so enduring it spanned the lifetime of many of his subjects. Louis XIV's court at the Palace of Versailles became the epitome of grandeur and excess, with its sprawling gardens and lavish rooms setting the stage for a monarchy that projected absolute power. The Sun King didn't just rule, he dazzled, surrounding himself with artists, musicians, and architects who transformed Versailles into a symbol of royal magnificence. This transformation wasn't just about aesthetics, it was a calculated move to centralize the French nobility under his watchful eye, ensuring that the splendor of his court was a constant reminder of his authority. Under Louis XIV, France experienced both cultural flourishing and relentless military campaigns. He expanded French territories through a series of wars, though often at great cost. His reign was a paradox of fostering arts and letters, while also engaging in extravagant expenditures that strained the royal treasury. Yet, despite these challenges, Louis XIV's ability to maintain control over his kingdom for such an extended period is a testament to his political acumen and the sophisticated machinery of the state he helped to build. The Sun King's legacy is a complex tapestry of brilliance, ambition, and excess, leaving behind a France that was both culturally enriched and financially burdened. His reign exemplifies the heights of absolute monarchy, where the king's word was law and his style was the standard. Louis XIV didn't just rule a country, he crafted an era, demonstrating how the power and personality and pageantry could leave an indelible mark on history. His story is a reminder of how a single monarch's vision can shape the destiny of a nation for generations to come. Presidency that shocked America. William Henry Harrison holds the record for the shortest presidency in U.S. history, lasting just 31 days. Harrison, a war hero and the oldest president elected at the time, delivered the longest inaugural address in history on March 4, 1841, standing in the cold without a coat. Little did anyone suspect that this would be the beginning of a tragic, historical first. Harrison's presidency was cut short by a sudden illness. Just weeks after taking office, he developed a cold that rapidly turned into pneumonia. Medicine of the 1840s was still a mystery in many ways, and treatments like bloodletting only worsened his condition. This unforeseen turn of events left the nation in shock as the vibrant leader succumbed to his illness on April 4, 1841. His death marked the first time a U.S. president died in office, triggering a constitutional crisis. At the time, the role of the vice president was not clearly defined in such circumstances. John Tyler, Harrison's vice president, stepped in, setting a precedent by assuming full presidential powers, a tradition we adhere to today. Though his time in office was brief, Harrison's presidency had significant implications. It led to the eventual ratification of the 25th Amendment, clarifying presidential succession and ensuring governmental stability. Harrison's legacy, while short-lived, was a pivotal moment in American history, reminding us how even the briefest of presidencies can profoundly influence the future.